G'day folks, welcome to this summary of the first 4 turns of a playthrough of the campaign game from North Africa 41, published by GMT Games. So this scenario of the campaign started off with the Allies bringing forward a lot of their army units to the frontier, and around kind of this area here, around Gardabia and the front, they actually came forward to meet the Axis forces as they advanced, and they really slowed them down. They got a lot of lucky rolls in combat. The Germans were rolling DR results, which basically enables the Allies to pull back. They become disrupted. The Germans advance. In the Allied movement phase, they withdraw, they recover, they're at full health, and then the Germans advance again. So this happened sort of several times in a row until, and they made a quite orderly withdrawal up to Benghazi, all the way up the coast, gradually withdrawing DR results until they hit this escarpment here. Now, this escarpment should have provided some good defensive benefits, but the Germans rolled really well in combat, brought a strong force to bear, and smashed through the Australian 9th Infantry Division here. That started a bit of a rout. I think they broke the defenders from memory at the same time. So as this is happening, as they're pushing up that escarpment, 2 brigades of the Australian 9th Division there, the Italians were crossing over the desert towards Derna. They also broke through a thin line of defences, captured Derna in their advance, thus cutting off the retreat of that 9th Australian Division. What we then saw over the last turn and a half was the attempt by that 9th Australian Division to get out of that trap. They quickly became out of supply and could only really tactical move across the desert. So they came through here. When they got to about this point here, the British Commonwealth forces to the east rushed west to try and save them. They'd been building fortifications around Tobruk, holding to Mimi here. They recaptured Derna from the Italians, but in an effort to save that 9th Australian Division, plus some other elements, we also had Corps headquarters here. We had a replacement counter, a lot of little tank formations. They've rushed forward to try and break through. That attempt failed. And so, in the German counterattack, you can see down here, this is what's left. This is 2 little formations. The Australians have surrendered. The 9th Australian Division surrendered. A couple of little tank battalions have retreated, trying to get out now around the south. They couldn't at the time draw supplies back to their HQ. Being out of supply, they can kind of an attack move, so they're kind of trying to get around the Italian infantry. The Italian infantry was responding by trying to close that net around them, force their isolation and surrender. But in the meantime, because the Commonwealth forces have rushed to the west, they've left Tobruk undefended. It was a big risk. They failed, and now they're out along this front here, out of fortifications, in the desert, in the open, and looking quite vulnerable. They're going to have to very quickly retreat back to some decent defensive positions. So the coming turn is going to be critical. Here's sort of the front along here, and these are the German, big, hard-hitting formations. 9, they've got elite infantry there. There's some stronger formations up on the coast, up here, and they are ready to fight. Now the problem, okay, so the game runs on benchmarks. So each turn you compare the benchmark with the number of airfields the Axis forces have captured. They are behind that benchmark. They currently, right now, only have 1 airfield out here in Benina. They briefly captured this airfield in Matuba. It was recaptured by the Allies. By benchmark, they should have also captured Gembut down here, past Tobruk. So they're 2 airfields short, so they're losing victory points. The Axis forces are losing victory points by not meeting that benchmark. The Allies have really slowed them down, slowed down their assault, put them behind historical benchmark. But in doing so, the Allies have lost a heck of a lot of units. And if we look down here at the Allied eliminated box, there are a lot of units here. All right, so we've got the 13th Corps headquarters, we've got a lot of these battalions, some decent tank, a lot of armoured units that were caught in that trap. All right, where is the 9th Australian Division? Here they are in the surrender box. They were trapped, cut off, couldn't be rescued. Each preparation phase, they advanced 1 box to the right. So one was captured early on that escarpment attack. The other one just fell recently. So they will eventually make it to the eliminated box where they can be rebuilt. Oh boy, but we're also about to lose an Indian brigade on turn 5. So whilst the Commonwealth forces are technically winning on victory points, they're 3 victory points ahead, they have lost a lot of forces. And the big concern is that they may have lost too much. And looking at their reinforcement schedule, turn 5, they get a truck and they withdraw an Indian brigade. And then they've got to wait until turn 6 before they get some more forces. They've got a trickle of replacements coming through, but they've just lost a tank replacement in that pocket that surrendered. They do have some replacements, but now they've lost their core headquarters as well. So here are some tank replacements, some infantry replacements. So it's a difficult time for the Allies. And as I said, although the Axis forces are behind, they should be feeling pretty good with what's about to come over the next turn or two. So that is up to turn 4 in this game of North Africa 41. Stay tuned, folks, and I'll report back soon.